Hey guys, Urban Combat Survivor here. Here's me hopping into one of those discussions again with Shall Not Be Infringed. Shall Not Be Infringed did a video responding to Dangerous Dan. I think Dangerous Dan 76 is the guy's name, and he asked for opinions from other people. He didn't name me specifically, but I'm going to hop into the mix anyway, as he did call me out at the end of that for not putting up many videos. So I tried to make this video once, and what I tried to do last time was address every point, and I realized that it's going to be impossible to do that in one video. So what I'm going to do here instead is talk about my approach to these kinds of, I guess, theories. I think Dangerous Dan's, let me say real quick, I'm not really familiar with the guy. I've recently subscribed to him. I've watched some of his videos, but not enough that I really feel like I have a good gauge on who the guy is. So, I also have not heard that particular theory before, so I'm coming at this from an outside perspective. I just wanted to say that I'm not familiar with him because, the only impression I have of him is from the few videos that I have seen. So, but from what I have seen, he seems like a logical guy. He's a thoughtful guy. But in this instance, I think he's incorrect. Let me explain quickly his theory for those who haven't watched the video, and well, actually two videos, is that we're all living in a debtor's prison, and then the path of logic that he took to get to that place, while understandable, I think starts at the wrong place. And if you start at the wrong place, you're going to end up at the wrong place. So, again, there's not going to be enough time in one video, or even two videos, to really address everything that he said. So, what I'm going to do is explain where I think the logic needs to start in order to get to a useful solution, or at least to a useful conclusion. Rather than starting at the concept of debt and at the concept of licensing, I think what we need to do is figure out exactly where it is that we moved from a republic into whatever this hybrid thing they're trying to make us into now is. I don't think that happened with the closing of debtors' prisons, and I'd like to touch on that quickly, actually. In the end, I don't think that the people won out with the complete abolition of debtors' prisons. Let me explain. Mike, if you go out and you bust your hump, man, you row out there, you throw out your lobster traps, you bring in a haul at the end of the day, and I know you got the thing with your leg when you had that motorcycle accident. So let's say that you don't have the ability to walk this stuff down to the market, so you make a deal with a guy in your area there, and this guy shows up. He takes a cartload of your lobsters down. He pays you for them up front, takes them down and sells them. And let's say you're working with this guy for a few months, and then this guy comes to you and says, "Look, here's the deal, man. My old lady got sick, and I'm not able to pay you up front for this next load. But we've been working together a long time, and I hope that you'll give me this next load on consignment, and I'll pay you after I sell them when I get the money, And you mull this over for a little while. You've been working for the guy. He seems like a good dude. All right, so you go for it, and you let this guy take it down to the market, and he comes back in 2 or 3 days, and he says, "Look, I wasn't able to raise all the money for that last load. So is it cool if I give you half the money for the next load? And then I'll give you all the money after I sell that one, because my bills should be pretty much caught up at this point." So again, you've been working with the guy. He gives you half the money. You give him another cartload of lobsters, and the next time he shows up, he says, "All right, I'm ready to buy that next load." And you go, "Well, wait a second. You still owe me for the load and a half." And that guy says, "Well, I don't do stuff on consignment, so this is how we do it, man. I pay you up front, and I don't know you for no load and a half." And you guys have a disagreement, and dude walks away. Now, I'm sure it's easy for you to say, well, you just bash his fucking head in or something like that, but let's just go with you, for some reason, can't bash the guy's head in and take your fucking money. So, now that guy gets to walk away, and since there are no debtors' prisons, you're now put in a situation where you have to go through this insane court system to try to take him to small claims court, because, you probably didn't get beat for enough money to take it to anything bigger than that. So you take it to small claims court, you're going to spend months and months of your life trying to get this money, and most people simply won't do it. So basically you're just beat for your money. Whereas it used to be that if you could show a legitimate debt, they would go collect this guy and tell him, look, here's the deal. You either pay this debt or we're going to lock your ass up. And then your family can pay the debt. And if they do not, then you're gonna work that debt off. In theory, I don't have a problem with that. Now, it may have been applied in a kind of brutal way, and our Constitution guarantees that we will not get cruel and unusual punishment, and that's a whole fucking debate whether or not that's going on, but whatever. So in the end, I don't think that there's a problem with the abolition of debtors' prisons. Second, I don't think that we are not sovereign. See, there's that whole sovereign citizen theory that I do not subscribe to. Like at the end of Dan's second video there, he starts talking about how there are people that go around without license plates and they refuse a social security number. He even claims that some senators don't have social security numbers, which I don't think is the truth. Every senator has to file taxes. And whether or not they're actually doing it, again, that's another debate. But they all have tax returns that they have to submit with their Social Security information in order to be able to run for office. So I don't think that there are nut jobs out there that are getting away with driving around without a license. I think this is like this Wesley Snipes thing where he thought, I don't have to pay taxes. How'd that work out for him? So I don't buy the theory. And I think you can debunk the major portions of it simply by looking at the original document of the Constitution in capitals. We the people of the United Capital States, capital. So even the theory that the capitalization or the word of or for people, of the United States is what it says right there in the original document. So I think that maybe he's been, I don't think he's intentionally trying to mislead anyone. I think that he started with this theory, this piece of information, and he started following the rabbit trail that piece of information takes you down. And the conclusion he got to at the end, I think, excludes many other things. What I prefer to do is step back and look at it from a larger picture and figure, where the hell did this start? I think it started with the progressive movement in the 1890s, and I think it got teeth in 1913 with the passage of, the sun's going down outside. I'm getting darker here. There you go. Change the camera. With the passage of the 17th Amendment. Actually, if you look at the history of it, the 17th Amendment was never legally ratified by the states. But again, that could be considered a conspiracy theory. It's not. You can check the fucking National Archives. It was never ratified. So, as far as I can tell, every bit of what's going on right now with us in this country, every bit of the hijack that's been going on right now with this country, started with the passage of the 17th Amendment. That's when they got the ability to remove the power from the states and put it into a central federal government. Before that, the states had recourse if bullshit like this healthcare law was going on. Once the 17th Amendment passed, they had no recourse. And if you'll look, after the 17th Amendment is when the Senate started passing bill after bill after bill removing our rights. That's where the hijack happened, in my opinion. It was a genius move. And then they used the crisis of the 1929 stock market crash to fist fuck all their shit through. But at the end of the day, if they didn't have the 17th Amendment, none of it would have been possible. So, I don't buy the sovereign citizen theory. I don't buy the debtor's prison theory. I think that what we need to do is get it back to states' rights. Remove all of the hijacking that has gone on since the 17th Amendment happened. And all of the problems that you're talking about, not many of them will be solved. I think there's another aspect to this, though. And I don't know if I can convey this in a way that's going to really make sense, but all the licensing, all of the government regulation that has come in to fuck the little guy like you from being able to go get your lobster, take it to that guy down the coast, and dock your boat and trade. I don't really think that has to do with taxes, man. What I think that has to do with is organized labor taking over companies. And now those companies could no longer compete with little guys, because now they're paying some ridiculous fucking salary to some guy to sit on a dock and receive boats, you know? Where that guy used to get a fair day's wage for a fair day's work, now he gets $94,000 a year plus $35,000 a year in benefits, plus 43 fucking paid days off a year and all this other shit, and that company couldn't compete with that little guy down the road. So that company then started pressuring, and the unions started pressuring to stop smaller shops. The electricians' unions started pressuring for laws that required certain requirements that would push the little guy out of really being able to compete anymore. You can't afford to compete anymore. So I don't think it's about taxes. I think it's about special interests. I think it's about the ability of those big corporate monsters that do the fishing being able to push the little guy out of business. So in the end, the government, they sided with those big companies for two reasons. One, because they sided with the fucking unions, and the unions are working in those big companies. And two, they sided with the company itself because the company itself was also paying special interest to get people elected into office. And in the end of that, the person who's getting screwed is me and you, and Dan, and everybody else that may have hopped into this conversation. I want to apologize to Dangerous Dan. I didn't watch your reply to Shall Not Be Infringed yet, and Lamb Dog, I didn't watch your reply yet. I just haven't had time to watch all these videos, and I'm probably going to have to run out of here pretty soon too, so I'm not even going to have a chance to watch them until later on tonight. So that's my really quick debunking of the theory of the debtor's prison. If you start at the wrong place, you're going to end up at the wrong conclusion every time. Having the ability to stand back and look at the root causes of these things. I believe in fighting the dragon. Find the dragon and slay that fucker instead of running around trying to fight all the myriad individual little fires you see around. Because as long as you don't identify the root cause, wrestle that ugly bastard up on the table and actually identify the root cause, all you're going to be doing is perpetually trying to put out the fires. And when you put this one out, the dragon's made two more over here, or 4 more over there. So identify the root cause, and in my opinion, the root cause was the progressive movement, and what gave the progressive movement teeth was the 17th Amendment. That's what gave them the ability to bend us over as a nation and ram a fist. So that's just the way I see it. Again, I want to reiterate, I don't think, Dan, I think your logic is sound. I think the way you got from A to B is sound. But I think the information that you used along the way to guide that pathway was not. So there it is. I guess I'm going to leave it there. I got to run out. So Urban Combat Survivor, signing off.